ABC News World Headquarters in New York. This is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to have you with us here as we near the end of another week together. We have a lot to get to. That breach in security at the military base, home to Air Force One. Also the nor'easter now on Super Bowl Sunday. But we're going to begin with the coronavirus tonight because there's news this evening on this new vaccine, the single shot from Johnson & Johnson, now awaiting emergency use authorization. Also active duty military now joining the fight to vaccinate Americans more quickly. New cases here in the U.S. are declining from their high, but there is concern about the variants already seen in more than 30 states and about what could come. More than 458,000 lives have been lost in this pandemic. The National Guard helping, of course, since the beginning. And tonight, the new Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has signed off on more than 1,100 active duty troops to help at vaccination sites across this country. And tonight on that new Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the FDA has now set the date for public review later this month. And as we have seen before, authorization can come hours afterward. So how soon before we see those single shots? More vaccination sites are opening up. Yankee Stadium here in New York just today, aiming for 15,000 shots a week. And on this Super Bowl weekend, authorities are asking Americans to celebrate with those in their immediate household. Dr. Ashish Jha tonight answering your questions on this new single-shot vaccine and on these variants seen in the U.S. Are we doing enough to make sure these vaccines will be effective in the coming months against any mutations? What the doctor says in a moment, but we begin with ABC's Whit Johnson at Yankee Stadium tonight.
Tonight, the Pentagon deploying troops to the front lines of the pandemic. More than 1,100 active duty service members, mostly medical personnel,
All right, here's the photo.
to help at vaccination sites. And soon, another weapon in the fight. Johnson & Johnson moving closer to emergency use authorization. Its single-dose vaccine, 66% effective overall at preventing moderate illness, but much more powerful against severe disease, including that highly contagious South African variant.
The good news is that when you look across all of the countries, the protection against truly severe disease was well over 80%, in fact, about 88.8%. Also of interest is that in the South African study, as well as all of the others, there were essentially no hospitalizations or deaths.
An FDA public hearing now set for February 26th. The first shots possibly going into arms as soon as March 1st. Johnson & Johnson promising 100 million doses by summer, but the White House today acknowledging supplies would be limited at first.
We have not found that the level of manufacturing allows us to have as much vaccine as we think we need coming out of the gate.
And tonight, growing concerns about Sunday's big game.
Let's not have the Super Bowl become the next beginning of a huge surge here in California.
Health officials urging Americans to avoid Super Bowl parties that could turn into super spreaders. In Los Angeles, restaurant screens will be turned off. Still, 22,000 fans will fill about a third of this stadium in Tampa, where masks are mandatory.
Face coverings are a requirement.
Our Will Reeve is at one of Super Bowl week's main attractions.
Here at the Super Bowl experience, signs like this are everywhere. Face coverings are required, and social distancing is encouraged.
But this weekend, from New Jersey to Kansas, officials are easing restrictions in restaurants and bars just in time for the game.
I was a little surprised. I thought maybe they might wait till after the Super Bowl, but I'm ecstatic.
But in New York today, one iconic stadium with a new purpose in the race to vaccinate. It's opening day of a different kind here at Yankee Stadium. 15,000 appointments in the first week. People lining up down the block in the rain to get their shots.
The way things are going, we needed it.
What was the process like to get an appointment here?
A disaster.
Really?
It took, my wife has been on the computer for the past 3 weeks trying to get on.
And we're hearing so many of those stories, Americans, and the trouble they face just trying to get an appointment to get the vaccination. Let's get right back to Whit Johnson tonight. He's at Yankee Stadium. And Whit, you reported there on active duty service members who will soon be helping to get Americans vaccinated. How soon will we begin to see this?
David, it's one of the first big moves from the new Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, approving FEMA's request to help speed up vaccinations. That first wave of more than 200 troops will arrive in California in the next 10 days, with more missions to come. David?
Whit Johnson live tonight at Yankee Stadium. Whit, thank you.